G'day and welcome back to Buildsum. And in this video I was thinking about back when I was an apprentice, all the wall frames that we built we housed the studs in. And what I mean by that is that the actual studs were checked or housed into the plates. So they're actually trenched in. Nowadays the vast majority of homes that are built, especially in here around Sydney, project homes and that, they're not checked in. The stud just butts directly up to the plate, okay, like that. So I was thinking about why that's changed and why we don't do it anymore. And what it is it comes back to the time when we actually didn't have thicknessed timber. So all the timber that we buy nowadays for residential house construction has been thicknessed to a set size. However, a long time ago, even before my time, most of the timber that we used was not. It was what we call rough sawn. So what that meant was that even though the timber may have a nominal size of, say, 50 mil, like this piece of timber here, the actual timber width or thickness could vary, 5 or 10 mil above or below that. Okay, so if it varied 10 mil on the bottom plate and 10 mil on the top plate as a worst case example, then your wall could actually be 20 mil different in height depending on where the studs were. So that caused a bit of a problem. So what they did was they checked out, and they didn't check out a set distance down. They didn't worry about this distance here. What they worried about was the distance up, or the amount that was left on. So back when they were doing it all by hand, that distance was pretty easy. They could just measure that up with a marking gauge, and they could leave the same amount on the timber every time. Later on, things came out like radial arm saws, and they were able to be set up a set distance off a bench and again leave the same amount of timber on. So by leaving the same amount of timber on each checkout, that meant that we could cut all the studs in the wall the same length, and regardless of what the actual plate did, we would get a wall that was the same height consistently all the way through. So obviously nowadays with thickness plates and thickness material, that's not a problem. I still think that a checked out stud or checked out plate definitely gives you a stronger wall, and it does help studs to not twist as much. But the reason that we actually checked out studs is no longer a problem. So that's why we don't see it anymore. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can also follow me on Facebook.